Hi, I'm Scotty Miller, and today I'd like to present some information on campaign finance reform. The United States is built on three primary principles: freedom, equality, and justice. However, recent Supreme Court rulings have eroded these three principles. The idea of one person having one vote has fallen to the wayside in recent years. Because of this, we need campaign finance reform. There are three primary reasons for this. First, campaign finance law and rulings fluctuate. Second, current Supreme Court rulings are harming the integrity of elections. And third, money influences elections, but there are solutions. Campaign finance policy is constantly changing. This is important because now the pendulum has swung to a point where elections are unequal. In a 2010 article by Robert Abraham in the Columbia Law Review, we learn a little bit more about this by studying Buckley v. Vallejo. In this court case, the Supreme Court upheld the Federal Election Campaign Act, and we saw increased restrictions on individuals. In 2002, we saw passing of the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, which saw additional restrictions on organizations such as corporations, unions, and other interest groups. However, in 2012, Citizens United was ruled on, which removed many restrictions on corporations, such as the ability not to use general treasury funds and allowing for super PACs. The second reason that we need campaign finance reform is because Supreme Court rulings are harming the integrity of elections. Articles such as the impact of Citizens United and the effects of Citizens United on corporation spending give us insight on the Citizens United case and McCutcheon versus FEC. In Citizens United, we saw the court ruling on corporations' rights as is understood by the First Amendment. This means that corporations now are likened to people. They are allowed to use general treasury funds and to directly oppose or advocate for candidates. Citizens United also gave rise to super PACs, which allow for individuals and corporations to donate unlimited amounts of money without disclosure. According to the impact of Citizens United, a 594% increase in expenditures was seen from 2008 to 2012. In McCutcheon versus FEC, we saw another liberalization of campaign finance law. Previously, individuals were allowed to only donate $2,500 to each candidate, but there was a $117,000 cap on all federal expenditures. McCutcheon versus FEC removed this $117,000 cap while keeping the $2,500 individual expenditure limit. Now people can give to as many candidates as they would like, increasing the amount of money in elections. Finally, these points have rose to the question of, does money equal influence? And if so, can we fix it? The answer is yes. Money does equal influence, but there are solutions. An executive summary by the Americans for Campaign Reform explains that money does equal influence. A study performed between 1992 and 2006 showed that if a candidate challenging an incumbent produced less than $700,000, their win rate was 1%. However, if a similar candidate was able to raise $700,000 to $1 million, the win rate increased to 45%. So how can we solve this? Demos, and a group dedicated to campaign finance reform, provides a solution, which is public financing. This is the idea that candidates can opt to not raise any money and rather gain money from the state. By raising $15,000 and then giving it to the state, they will gain full funding from the state. The benefit of this is candidates no longer are subject to donor prejudices, and they have the ability to spend most of their time campaigning, spelling out their platform, and spending time with constituents. So I've gone over a lot of information during this speech, so let's take a little time to review this. We have let elections become corrupt and unfair. One person having one vote has fallen to the wayside because of Supreme Court rulings such as Citizens United and McCutcheon versus FEC. We have allowed the Supreme Court to say that money is equal to influence and that people have the right to spend their money. But is this fair? Should people with more money have more influence in elections? Should they be able to buy someone's vote? I say no. I urge each one of you to research for yourself, to go research scholarly articles, journals, any information that you can on this subject and find out the truth for yourself. If you don't believe me, figure it out for yourself. However, the bottom line is that campaign finance reform is needed. There are 3 reasons for this. The pendulum has swung from equality to inequality in elections. We have allowed rulings that harm the integrity of elections, and we know that money influences elections, but we have chosen not to step in and fix it. I ask that you take what I've said today and consider it. Please do not put it to the side. It's important. This is an important subject. A philosopher once said that the greatest sin of all is to not care. So I ask you to please care about this. This is important to me and to you. Your vote and my vote. So thank you.